welcome to today's practice. Today's practice is going to be slightly different. So as you come down to the mat, find yourself in a comfortable seat. Just gently begin to close your eyes and I'll just talk you through what we're going to do today. So I've changed the name of this practice a few times and I've decided that I'm just going to call it a self-care practice. It's going to be very gentle and a lot of it's going to be up to you. We're going to move through some poses, but I will be giving you plenty of options, and I really want you to make the intention today that you take what you need from this practice. So this isn't about a fitness workout. As you know, yoga isn't a fitness workout, but it's not about that. Today it's really about if you have come home from a hard day at work and you're exhausted and you want to do this before you go to bed, or you might just have a really tired body and you know that you really want to move, but the thought of going through a hard vinyasa flow just isn't your thing today. It's just really about what you need in this moment if you want something gentle but you still want to move. So what I suggest you do is, if you haven't already, just pop this video on pause and grab yourself your props. So a nice blanket, a cushion, a block or a pillow to sit on. I've also got a tray in front of me with a candle, some water and a hot drink. Now I won't be using my blanket because it's still 30 degrees here, but if you want to and it's not so hot, please use the blanket when I prompt, because it's really nice and it just a bit more, it just helps with the whole loving yourself, which is what we're trying to get from today's practice. So I'm just going to move my blanket slightly because it's making me feel a bit uncomfortable where it's so hot here. So you will be now in a comfortable position. You've lit your candle, you've got your water and your hot drink, and we're just going to gently close our eyes if we haven't already done so. And we're going to start to concentrate on our breath. No fast rules, just listen to the breath going in and out. Maybe if it feels comfortable, make the exhalation a little bit longer than your inhalation. But just find the stillness, start to look within yourself. Don't worry if your mind drifts off, just bring it back and think to yourself, okay, I'll think about that later. At the moment, I'm practicing yoga. Keeping those breaths long and steady. Notice how the breath feels as you breathe in through the nostrils and then breathing out through the nostrils. And if you want to wrap yourself up in your blanket while we do this short meditation to start, then that's absolutely fine. Get yourself really comfy. And now we're going to start to use some numbers to help us lengthen our breath. So you choose the numbers that work for you. I'm going to suggest a 2 and a 4. If that's comfortable for you, great. If you want to do a 3 or a 6, that's equally okay. So we're just going to breathe in for the count of 2. 1, 2. And then I'm going to breathe out for the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In for the count of 2. 1, 2. Out for the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you just keep that going, counting quietly in your head. As I say, adjust the numbers to a 3 and a 6 if that suits you better. I'm just going to be here for a while in silence, enjoying the quiet. remembering that if your mind drifts off, that's perfectly normal. That's what your brain is supposed to be doing. Just acknowledge the thought, bring yourself back to the numbers. And then very gently start to flutter your eyes open. Allow the numbers to disappear. Allow your breath to come back to normal. Feel the calmness that's running through you. And if it feels appropriate at this moment, take a sip of your drink. Really enjoying this space and time that you've carved out for yourself. I suggest that you shrug the blanket off your shoulders if you're wearing it for now. Now we're going to do a little bit of stretching. So today we're not matching the breath with any of our movements. So you just breathe normally, breathe how feels comfortable to you. And we're going to stretch our arms up over our head. We're going to really point our fingers and stretch our whole body as if we're trying to touch the ceiling. And then we're going to bring them all the way back down again. Let's do that one more time. So bring the arms up overhead. Really stretch through your whole body, up through your fingertips. And then bringing the arms gently down to the sides. Bringing the hands in front, let's clasp them and then just stretch them. Push them right out as far as you can go. A bit like a cat position, so you're hollowing your stomach, your shoulders coming forwards. Really stretch that back body. And then bring the arms back down to your lap. And then let's do that again. So bringing the arms up, pushing them away from your body, curving yourself over so you're really stretching through the back body. And then bringing them all the way back down to your lap. And taking the hands behind us. Again, clasping the fingers together in the same way. And then lifting the arms up so the chest comes forwards. Don't worry if your arms don't come up very high, that doesn't matter. Feeling the stretch across your chest, and then bringing the arms down to a relaxed position. And then one more time, taking them out, back, stretching across the chest, and then bringing them back down, resting your knees on your hands. Now we're going to do our shoulder shrugs. That's not easy to say. I'm so relaxed, my mouth's not working. So bringing your shoulders up and then letting them fall. Bringing them up to your ears and then letting them fall. Last time, bringing them up to your ears and then letting them fall. And then giving yourself a hug, doesn't matter which arm goes over which, and then very slowly, just going to turn our upper bodies towards our right. We're not expecting this to be a big twist because we're giving ourselves a hug, but it is beginning to wake the spine up. And then come all the way back to the beginning. Whichever way your arms are, switch them round to the other way round. And then let's take that twist over to the left. Again, don't force anything. It's not supposed to be a big twist. It's just starting to wake your spine up. Let's come all the way back to centre. Change those arms round again and twist it round to the right. You might find this time it's a little bit deeper, but don't worry. It's not about how deep the twist is. Back to centre. Change those arms around and let's go towards the left. Coming back to centre, allowing the arms to come down. And we're going to do one more, just stretch all the way up to the sky, up through those fingertips and then back down. Okay, so you can have one more sip of your drink. I'm going to have a drink of mine as well. Okay, so now I would suggest that you move your blanket off your mat, come off your cushion or your block that you're sitting on, and very gently we're going to take ourselves round to tabletop. So no rush, do it in your own time. If you want to use your rolled up blanket under your knees, please do. Remember, this practice today is about your self-care and taking what you need. So make sure that you have got your alignment right. So hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hip, neutral back. And then we're going to move through some cat-cows, but we are going to move really slowly. So I'm not doing it with the breath. We're just going to drop our belly, bring our head up as we very slowly come into cow. And then we're going to take it all the way back through into cat, really pushing away from the mat, bringing that tummy in, engaging that core, pushing away with our hands and our shoulders. And then very slowly moving back into cow, feeling all those vertebrae starting to warm up as the fluid runs up and down the spine, moving back into cat again, holding the cat position, allowing the head to be heavy, coming back into cow, really feeling the stretch, pushing away from the mat, back into cat, and back into cow. And then coming back into a neutral spine. We're going to bring the toes together, take the knees as wide as the yoga mat, pop your bottom back as we come into our first child's pose. Now you choose the child's pose that's comfortable for you today. It may be you want a block underneath your head, you may be using a cushion under your tummy, using your rolled up blanket under your knees. Whatever you need to make this your child's pose, please take that position. And we're just going to stay here for a few moments. Now slowly pushing through the hands, coming back into a tabletop. We're going to keep on moving and we're going to come all the way down onto our bellies very slowly into crocodile. So crocodile, we have one hand on top of the other, popping the forehead for this one onto our hands. Your feet can be as wide as your mat or however's comfortable for your hips. Don't force them to be wide if that's uncomfortable. And then we're going to slowly lift the head a little. We're going to bring both our hands in front of us and we're actually going to do a full body stretch from here. So point the toes, stretch through your fingers, but keeping that forehead on or hovering near the mat. I don't want you to hurt your neck. And just stretch out for as long and as is comfortable for you. And then when you feel you've done your stretch, bring yourself back into regular crocodile. And now if you want to stay here in crocodile, that's absolutely fine. Otherwise, we're going to take our hands behind us. We're going to lift our arms and our legs up into lotus and our head, just very gently. You might find that that's too much for you. If it is, you can just do your arms, or you could just do the legs, or you could just bring your head up with your hands under your shoulders, so like a mini cobra. Whichever variation works for you, or as I say, you stay in crocodile if that feels better. We will meet back in crocodile once you've finished your stretch. Taking a few breaths in crocodile, allowing your body to relax after the stretch of the lotus, whichever variety you took. Now very gently pushing through the hands and the feet, we're going to meet in tabletop position. Finding that tabletop position again. We're going to do a couple more cat-cows. So coming into cow and then pushing through into cat. You might feel a little different this time because we've already warmed up. Back into cow. It doesn't take long for our body to recognise the shapes and feel comfortable. Come back into cat. Last time into cow. One more into cat. And now you can take yourself into child's pose if you wish, or if you don't want to do that, you can follow me by curling the toes under, and we're going to come up into downward dog. So lifting the knees off the mat, pushing our hips towards the sky, and just pedaling it out, taking whatever movements you need until you find stillness. Closing your eyes, breathing deeply, enjoying the stretch of the down dog, which as we know now is our resting pose. And then if we're in child's pose, just come up to back to your tabletop and then very slowly come to a forward fold. If you're in downward dog, we're just going to walk our hands backwards to meet our feet, so we're also in a forward fold. Keeping the knees bent to make it comfortable. And then very slowly, the slowest you've probably done this for a long time, we're going to push through our feet and our legs, and we're going to curl our way up to mountain. But we want to do this super slowly. Gently unraveling, making sure that our head is the very last thing, and then closing our eyes as we get to mountain, feeling the connection with the ground, noticing a breath, breathing deeply. And then in here, while we're in mountain, we're going to bring our arms up over our head for a big stretch through the fingertips, maybe looking at the sky, slight back bend if that's in your practice, and bringing the hands all the way back down. And we're going to take them in front of us like we did before. So pressing away, curling our spine almost as we press our hands in front of us, and then back to our sides. Once more, pushing away in front of us and coming back to neutral, taking the hands behind us, putting them in a bind, and then again bringing them up. Doesn't matter how far they come, but just feeling that stretch across your chest, allowing them to come back down to your sides, and then one more time bringing them up and coming back to a normal mountain. And then we're going to hug our arms around us like we did before. We're going to take our body twist to the right. Again, it's not about how far you twist, but you probably will find that your twist is a little bit bigger this time. Coming back to centre, switching those arms around to the other hug, and now taking the twist to the left. Enjoying seeing a view over your left shoulder. Coming back to centre, let's repeat that again. So changing the arms round in the hug, going round towards the right. Coming back to centre, switching the arms round, and then taking the twist to the left. And coming back to centre. Bring the arms down to our sides, and then one more final stretch up over our heads, looking to the ceiling, stretching through the fingertips before we bring our arms back down to our sides. Taking a moment here in mountain. And then we're going to step our right foot forward, so we're on the long side of the mat, and we're going to find Goddess. So get your feet in the position, find the Goddess that's good for you. Your Goddess might just be here, your Goddess might be much lower than mine. Just find the Goddess that you feel comfortable. And we're going to continue with the flow of the hug. So we're going to hug as we're down here in Goddess, and then we're going to release the hug as we stretch up into Star, and then we're going to come back down, hugging in the other direction with our arms as we come back down into Goddess. And then this time, as we release our hug, we're going to come up into Star, turning the back foot, pivoting so that it's in line with the back of the mat, and we're going to bring our arms down as we come forward into Warrior Two, coming forward, flipping our hand, taking Warrior Two backwards, and then all the way back, pivoting that foot, so we're back into Star, coming down into our Goddess hug with the arms on the other way around, back into Star, pivot the right foot, taking Warrior Two to the other side, flipping the hand, reversing our warrior, coming all the way back through, into Star, and then back down into Goddess with a hug. And just slow pulse the Goddess if you feel comfortable. Bringing ourselves up, out into Star, stretching through all of our muscles, and then coming back into Mountain, closing the eyes, breathing deeply. We're going to stretch ourselves up, hands above our heads, and then coming down into a forward fold, bending the knees generously, taking the hands forward so we come into down dog. If you want to go straight into child pose, please do. If you want to linger in a downward dog for a little bit longer, that's absolutely fine. Dropping the knees to the ground, coming into child's pose if you're not already there. Pushing through, the hands coming to tabletop, sliding the legs just to one side so we can come down onto our bottoms, bringing our legs in front of us, and we're going to keep our legs bent. You might want to put a cushion or a towel on your legs. And we're going to very slowly bring our chest forward into a forward fold, closing the eyes, allowing ourselves to rest on our cushion or blanket. And now very slowly come back up to seated. Wrap yourself up in your blanket completely, and then take yourself onto your side into the fetal position. Really wrap yourself up. Get really comfortable. Breathe deeply. Come back to listening to the breath. Try to keep your brain concentrated on breathing in and breathing out. You want to enjoy the last moments of this practice together. Everything else is just on pause for the moment. And for today's practice, I'm going to leave you here in your fetal position, all wrapped up in your blanket. So when you feel ready, just very slowly open your eyes, bring yourself back into the room, finish drinking your hot drink, but please stay where you